Thankfully for me, Don Staley has started to take over Super Bowl Sunday, second year in a row, playing a marquee matchup on Super Bowl Sunday in the afternoon before the game, as number 11 UConn comes down to Columbia to the CLA to take on the undefeated number one Gamecocks. Well, hey man, look, jumping over. Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. I'm a Cowboys fan, so you already know I'm not going to be watching. But thankfully for me, Don Staley has started to take over Super Bowl Sunday, second year in a row, playing a marquee matchup on Super Bowl Sunday in the afternoon before the game, as number 11 UConn comes down to Columbia to the CLA to take on the undefeated number one Gamecocks. What you think about this matchup?
Man, like name wise, I like the matchup. You know what I'm saying? UConn versus Gamecocks, right? But we know UConn just hadn't been the same UConn like it has been. I mean, we know we'll touch on injuries and things like that, but Paige having to hold it down. I think we also got Aaliyah Edwards, kind of holding it down. But when you lose what's it, Bud in the beginning of the season from an ACL injury, like she was nice. I liked her. I think she's going into her, maybe this was her junior year right here, but I think the Lady Gamecocks are just too deep, man, and that's what we've kind of seen all season from the Lady Gamecocks as far as when they go to their bench, like 3, 4, 5 deep from the bench perspective. But UConn, they're about too deep, man, consistently. But outside of Paige and Aaliyah Edwards, man, it's going to be hard to find some points. And I think once Don put Raven on Paige, like it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, so you mentioned the depth. One thing to keep an eye out this coming weekend, is going to be Carmela Cardoso is going to the Olympic tryouts with the Brazil national team, trying to qualify for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Um, Great opportunity for her, missing a huge college basketball game for her team. Obviously, you talk about the depth. We feel comfortable with our depth and who we have, but you're missing your 6'7". That's a huge loss. I'm very interested to see how that affects rotations and stuff of that magnitude.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Some of those big ladies down low are going to have to step up. Like I said, we talked about Watkins earlier. Also, what Fagan, maybe she kind of flows in there, and it's got to be Chloe's game. You know what I'm saying? Chloe Kitts from a Gamecock perspective, like I think she has to be that double double that Cardoso was bringing. We know, I think Watkins, we know she can get a double double. She can give you 10 and 10 if need be, but definitely it's going to be a next woman up perspective here.
Yeah, no. Ashton Watkins has got two straight double doubles, starting two games in a row as Chloe was out sick. So clearly, that's nice to see coming into a week where you knew she was going to be starting for you. Um, I'll be honest. To me, the X factor of this game, I think, is going to be Malaysia Fuali, who, not even for what she does offensively, it feels like every game she's gotten that much better defensively. And I'm interested to see if they let her guard Paige Buekers and just kind of hound her, and kind of what that might look like on the defensive perspective for South Carolina.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, man. I see it's definitely going to be a committee, a defense by committee on Page. Like I said, I can see Raven kind of starting out with her. Like if Raven's not in there, like I said, bring full Wally in. I think Bill can guard her as well. Like she's got some length on her also, and she might be rotating in and out with that as well. But yeah, if we say they look at Page and like, okay, can we stop Page? The rest will take care of itself. And we can unfortunately we probably could easily see a blowout going into the fourth quarter is kind of the sad thing about that.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind that. And that's the thing when you talk about the South Carolina depth. It's not just that they play 10 girls every game, but it's the fact that don't trust all 10 of those to where there's not a drop off. Obviously there is, but she has that mindset that the second wave, the third wave can be just as good and sometimes even better than that starting five with how they're playing on any given night. And you look at, as far as the Paige Buekers thing's concerned, you have Raven Johnson, you have Bree Hall, you have Fuali, you have Tahina Pow Pow. I mean, they have like five or six girls that they're probably totally comfortable guarding her. And when you have that kind of depth, Paige is going to have to play 38 to 40 minutes, if UConn has any chance of pulling the upset, she's going to be gassed. I mean, when you're able to keep fresh legs on her, I think that's going to be hard chewing for her to get going. Well, man, give me a prediction. What you like in the game leading up to it? Who you think? You think Gamecocks are going to win big, or you think it's going to be a close game?
I think it's a 12-point win by the Gamecocks, man. I'm gonna call 12 points, man. It's close going into the fourth, but I think it kind of breaks away and there's some trash buckets at the end. But I see a double-digit win by the Gamecocks when it's all said and done.
For me, the big thing is it's going to be a sellout. The sellout was announced like back in November, I want to say. I mean, this
Yeah,
thing's been sold out for months now. Um, UConn has to get out to an early start. If they get down 7 or 8 early, this thing could get out of hand. Um, but I think South Carolina is going to roll. I think it's going to be more in that 15 to 20 range, but it's going to be that way kind of the entire second half. I think we get up early and then just kind of play with our cat toy the rest of the way and just kind of toy with them and never put them away. Obviously, you would like to put them away, but I think UConn is the type of team that's not going to give up and will continue to fight through the fourth quarter, even if it's a 15 to 20 point deficit. They're not going to let it get out of hand and get rolled by 30 or 40.
no, I definitely agree with that. Like, I mean, coach not gonna allow that. UConn coach, like I said, we know how great he is, Hall of Famer. Like he don't have teams that just give up. Let's just say that it's just not in the UConn culture as far as women's basketball goes.
And that's the thing. I mean, UConn's dropped out of the top 10 a couple times this year. And like this is a team you just feel bad for. You mentioned the Fudd injury. But it's not, I mean, this is the second year in a row that they've just been devastated by injuries. I mean, you used to talk about UConn going 10 deep and being good with it. They go 7 deep. And really, sometimes the sixth and seventh, they're not really comfortable with. And so it's definitely going to be interesting. But two marquee names as far as the universities in women's basketball, two marquee coaches, and what
Yeah.
better way to expand the brand than on Super Bowl Sunday, playing in the afternoon when everybody's sitting around the TV waiting on the game to come on.
It's gonna be a good weekend, man. Definitely a good Sunday going into the Super Bowl. Like I said, tip it off with the women's game. You know what I'm saying? Take a little break and get ready for the Super Bowl and the halftime show, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey man, everybody out there in YouTube land, be sure hit the like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to drop your comments. Let us know any basketball you want to talk about, NBA, college hoops. It don't matter. We might even hop on here and talk some high school ball if you got a high school matchup you want us to break down. But look, for my co-host KB, I'm the stat guy. Hey, just keep chucking them buckets and hitting nothing but net. Swish.
Sir.